Discussions in this show are for entertainment and educational purposes only and should not be construed as specific recommendations or investment advice. Always consult with your investment professional before making important investment decisions. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a broker-dealer and member of FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Cambridge and neither SmartPro Financial nor Bridgeway Wealth are affiliated. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Working Wealth Podcast. I'm Patrick Rogers, and I'm super excited to have my good friend, Mr. Brad Rooks, joining us today. Brad is a great business leader, father, husband, faith leader, I'm going to call you. I'm just going to throw it out there. Let's do it.
Appreciate that.
But no, Brad's a good friend. We've known each other for a few years, and he has done some incredible things with building a online movement with some great fitness challenges and motivation and discipline, but also has an incredible business we've used and love working with you guys for any kind of branded apparel and just getting to grow our brand through an extension of you guys. So Brad, tell us, just to kind of kick us off on our conversation today, there's a lot of things we can get into,
Right.
a lot of life experience and stories. Yeah. But tell us, just to start off, like, who is Brad Rooks?
Man, well, we got a lot going on, man. Brad Rooks is a guy that's trying to figure it out just like everybody else, right?
Amen to that.
I am 42 years old. 41 years old.
Okay.
Will be 42 years old this year. You know, the older you get, the more you forget your age.
Brain cells start to go a little bit quicker, kind of thing.
But Brad Rooks is someone who really just wants to inspire and motivate people around them. We have several brands and businesses that we push, Knotted Threads being kind of our main contender there. And that's our branded apparel side of our company. And, you know, our biggest goal there is to help people elevate their current ideas into promoting their business through custom apparel. As you can see, I'm wearing a Ruck 90 shirt. This is a Knotted Threads Brad Rooks podcast, right? But there's ways of getting messages out there through custom apparel, even if it's not necessarily the topic that you're coming for, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And what about family background?
Yeah.
Where do you come from?
Yeah. So originally from north of Charlotte, so Concord, North Carolina. And I have two awesome boys, Trenton and Jackson, who are 11 and 7. And then my wife of almost 16 years, Tyler.
Time flies, man.
Oh my gosh,
cow.
dude.
Okay.
It feels like 2 years ago that we got married. 16 years.
Yeah.
And man, honestly, just in probably the best spot we've ever been. It's super cool.
Can you talk more about that? I'm just curious what you mean by like best spot you've ever been.
Yeah, man. Just as far as, you know, there's ebbs and flows when you get married. Normally there's that first year, 2 years, you're still dealing with the drama of after the wedding. The personalities that clash that you didn't even know that was going to happen, right? And then you guys are living on your own. You're trying to figure out what does life look like. Two people that used to live separate now together. And there's normally just a friction point to where like we're figuring out the things that we do and we don't like about each other. And then so throughout the years, you continue to rub and you know, sometimes that drives people apart. And thankfully for me and my wife, like we've got common goals. We're kind of going towards this similar direction. And for us this 16th year has probably been the best year marriage-wise that we've had. I mean, we're more locked into our goals. We're going in the same direction. We are not as, I would say, aggravated about those rough areas in each other's lives. And instead, we're trying to help each other smooth those areas out together.
I love that.
Yeah, man.
So I'm going to kind of jump ahead on that because I feel like the way you just described that connects so deeply with everything I've heard you talk about over the years about Knotted Threads.
Yeah.
Like the meaning behind the brand, behind the name, all those things. Can you talk to us about Knotted Threads as a company and what the meaning is? And we can cover the background and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Really that purpose behind that.
Yeah, so Knotted Threads, I knew I wanted to make T-shirts. Right, I didn't know what the brand was going to be, what it was going to be called. My wife and I spent, a while just thinking through ideas, and of course, you know, we bring the Lord into all of our conversations, and so, you know, I don't want to call it like a stroke of genius, but it's like an inspirational moment to where it's like, no, okay, it took me to the scripture Ecclesiastes 4:12, where it talks about 3 strands of a cord are not easily broken. And so what does that look like practically in our lives is, okay, individually, we're just a strand that can be broken. But together, we're much stronger and we're held to a stronger bond. And so if that's how a cord is fortified from string, well, how do we fortify cord even more? Well, we knot it, right? Sailors use knots. There's different types of knots that serve different purposes. And for us, we want to be knotted together in like this place of unity with each other, me and my wife, and with the Lord, and with our community, and building that and creating, firm foundations there. Amen.
Yeah, I think that the reason I wanted you to talk about that briefly is the cord bound together, right? The three different strands making a rope, we'll say. Well, the only reason that has strength, like from a physics perspective, like pulling my engineering background out, right, is because you have that friction between those strands, right? You have some shear force, you have some friction force in between those, which actually gives you more of like a tensile strength overall inside that cord.
Exactly.
And going back to what you said about even just, I mean, we're 3 minutes in, right? Like, even talk about marriage, right? And like the friction points in life and how that actually makes you stronger and it makes you more bound together.
Absolutely.
I feel like that's kind of a theme in your life.
Right.
It's a theme in the way you guys operate your family, the way you operate your business, the way you operate your movement and your passion and your goals and everything you guys do. So I don't want to gloss over that, right? Like I want to point that out.
Yeah.
And maybe even that same vein is putting a knot in that rope or a knot in that cord.
Absolutely.
That's every challenge you actually
100%.
you move beyond, right?
Yeah.
Like things with health or whatever, right? Add another knot to that rope,
100%.
and that just makes us stronger, right?
Well, it's taken me 40 something years to figure out, but we go our entire lives trying to avoid conflict, trying to avoid being uncomfortable, trying to avoid not being able to just be as comfortable as I can be, right? But does that work if you go to the gym? Like you can't go to the gym and be comfortable and see results, right? So you have to have that tension. You have to have that time under pressure. You have to have the ripping and tearing and like all the things that you don't want in order for you to be able to elevate and for those muscles to grow. And so if our purpose in the gym is to grow big muscles or to tone or whatever, and we know we have to put our body underneath those conditions to get those results, how is it any different in our personal lives? So if we're trying to avoid those things, right, then we're not going to grow in those areas. So we have to go through those things, which is basically like the birth of buffalo mentality.
Yeah, talk about that more.
Yeah, so the way I explain buffalo mentality, and I didn't create it. I'm just a guy that's pushing this idea. I didn't create the idea of the way that buffalo think naturally in the wild. And so the way I compare it is between a cow and a buffalo, two very similar sized animals, but the way that they handle situations in nature are completely different. They both can sense when a storm's coming. They both have things that they default to when those things happen. When they see that storm coming across the horizon, a cow will turn, will run, will try to bed down, will try to get away from this storm that's coming. And a buffalo, they'll head directly into the storm. Normally in a group, normally in their herd, they'll head directly into the storm. And I mean, why is that even relevant? Well, the buffalo is going into the same storm that the cow is eventually going to. It's going to travel with that cow, right?
Yeah.
Or it's going to sit there and completely, we're just going to have to wait for the storm's pace to cross over the cow. But the buffalo, they're going to go through it. They're going to go through it faster. It's not going to be any less severe. It's still going to suck. It's still going to be hard, but they're going to get through it faster. And so how does that look like in our lives? What storms are we facing in our lives that we're like, like I should probably run the other direction? No, run to that thing and you'll get through it faster. Like there's still going to be damage. There's going to be damage regardless, right?
Yeah.
But that damage is what's going to produce a more fruit for the next challenge that comes, for that next storm that comes. And so face your storm. The buffalo mentality.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, because I've heard you talk about this before, and I've seen some other folks talk about the buffalo, like probably like a Rogan podcast or something like that, right? the fastest way to get through it is to go directly in.
You got to go.
Right. Like you said, if you run away and you bed down, well, you're running away, so you're delaying the impending thing that's coming.
Yeah.
And you're building that anticipation, you're building that anxiety, that frustration, that fear.
Right.
And then you still have to wait for it to pass.
Yeah.
Instead of just walking right into it, right?
Right.
And I agree that's something that in every walk of life, I'm a financial planner. So obviously around the money side of things, I talk with people all day long, all the time about being proactive, being intentional, being willing to look at the reality of our situation.
Right.
Most people are not successful in their financial lives because they're not willing to look at the reality of where they are and then actually make change.
Right.
That's just something I've seen over 9 years,
Yeah.
right? And it is, right? Like it's actually more scary to not face the facts and not commit to making a change, not commit to making a proactive effort towards the better,
right?
Than it is to just do it,
right?
Just do the work,
right?
There's something I saw recently with Jocko.
Okay.
Very well-known name in kind of the motive, let me clarify, not the motivation space, in the discipline space, right?
Exactly.
Where he was on a podcast getting interviewed with, I think, Chris Williamson, I think that's his name. And he was asking Jocko, well, what have you learned from all your experience, as a SEAL and leading men and women and, leading businesses and growing companies and all that kind of stuff? Like, what is the one thing that helps you overcome fear?
Right.
He just said, go.
Yeah.
Just go. Right. Just
Absolutely.
move. Just do the thing. Just
Yes.
step into it. And to me, that's that same mentality, right?
Yeah.
It's just leaning in, running into the storm.
Right. And it's okay that it's scary.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay. Like, do it anyway. Do it anyway. Right. Do it in spite of the scare, of the fear.
Mm-hmm.
Right. By the time you get on the other side of that thing, you'll be like, what was I even scared about in the first place?
Yeah.
And now you have all the power that you just conquered that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've found, especially in my life, in business and personal, is oftentimes it is that delayed piece just exacerbates the fear even more and more and more and more and more, right? And if you let that delay build, or if you build more time in, like the analysis paralysis, that kind of stuff, which I naturally default to, is like I want to analyze the piss out of something before I actually move on it because I want to make the right decision, right? Always trying to make the right decision, the best decision, instead of just making a decision, right, and moving with it. Yeah. This podcast is part of that. Like we just made a decision. It's like, I don't know exactly where we're going to land, right, but we're going to try to create some content and help people and give people clarity and all that. We're just going to make it happen.
And we're here.
And we're here, and it's beautiful, right?
It's it's so cool.
And it costs me money, but it's a worthwhile investment, right? It's a thing that has actually, I think, been more impactful for our business and for our community than anything else being done. But I think that going back to that concept of just that delay, the more you build up time to think, the more you build up time to wonder and worry, the more detrimental it's going to feel. But also the less real it is.
Yeah. In the wrong headspace, I would say.
Okay, talk about that.
So something that I won't say recently. So last year I got into rucking, right? Rucking has given me the ability to get myself away from the noise and really focus in that headspace, right? Because your feet's on pavement. I don't do like treadmill rucks and stuff like that. Like
it's actually a rule, right?
It's
for
Ruck 90. So I created a challenge called Ruck 90, and one of the rules is no treadmill. And so all these rules I generated to keep me active, to keep me moving, and by default, it forces everybody else to do the same thing,
right?
And so that we all play by the same rules. But that rule was generated because I knew that I could go to the gym. I knew I could jump on a treadmill and check the box, but what did it do for me? Like, what things did I see that could remind me of something? Like, what are the opportunities that I have getting my feet on pavement, getting away from the noise? What could I accomplish? What could I think? Where could we go? And so, it didn't happen naturally, but it did happen naturally. But what really started changing the game was to start designing my rucks, right?
Talk more about that.
So,
what do you mean by designing the rucks?
Instead of saying, hey, I'm going to go out and do a 3-mile ruck, I say, hey, a 3-mile ruck is going to take me probably an and 45 minutes to an hour.
Mm-hmm.
How can I design that 45 minutes under my feet to be the most impactful time that I have during that day?
Mm-hmm.
So what are things that I can stack inside of the ruck? Because the ruck's just going to happen. I'm just going to walk my 3 miles. I'm going to do my 45 minutes. That part's going to happen. It's automatic. But what can I do inside that space that's going to bring me power for the day? It's going to build my relationships. It's going to move me forward further towards my goals. So I can give you a quick framework of kind of what I
please do. Yeah.
So I'll go out. I'll start my day with. I start my day with a rug. I wake up at 5:30. I put my shoes on. I don't want to be up early. I'm not a morning person. Never been a morning person. Actually hate being up early.
Yeah.
But if I'll put my shoes on and I'll put my ruck vest on and I'll take a step out of the front door, well, then I know after that, everything that I planned is going to happen in that 45 minutes, an hour that I have, right? And normally by the time I get done, I've reminded myself who I am. I'm okay with being awake. I've spent time with the Lord. I've talked to a few friends. I've read some like audiobooks or whatnot, whatever I'm focusing on for that day. But I've stacked all of these activities inside of this 1 hour, this side of this 45 minutes. And now, like, I am ready. I'm supercharged. I'm ready to tackle the rest of the day, right? And so I'll start with a little bit of the Word. I'll listen to, 5-10 minutes of the Word. If you don't know where to start, do a proverb a day. Today's the 17th, read Proverbs 17. It's a really easy way to digest a little bit of the Word every day. I'll listen to some affirmations that I've created for myself. Things that I go through, the individual parts, our body being balanced in business that you know of. And I have affirmations or something we call conscious self-creations that I say inside. So for my body, like, I'm someone who's muscular in tone, right? If that's not who I am today, that's somebody that I'm striving to be. And so I speak about it in the first like that it's current, it's happening, it's reality. And so I'll go through each of my goal categories and I'll speak certain things over myself. I'm listening to it through audio. I have recorded it. I'm listening to it. I listen to it every day. And this is just some way to remind myself first thing in the morning, like, what am I doing? Where am I going? Why am I even awake? What's my purpose? After that, I'll usually spend some time praying or just walking in silence just to see what clarity comes out of, the information that I've just, taken in. From there, I'll send a message of gratitude to a friend or to my wife or to my kids. And then I'll listen to like a podcast and, kind of wrap it all together. But normally I'm not on my first ruck of the day. I'm normally not just bebopping to whatever music, I'm feeling for the day. I'm trying to be intentional about that time and set up my day so that I'm clear and I'm focused, like, where we're going, and at least that part of the day I've won. The rest of the day can go to crap, but at least I've won that part.
But I think that's one of the key principles here, right? Is like you're creating a rhythm, you're creating a formula, if you will. But if you complete the formula, you complete the steps, you've stacked a win.
100%.
And in that case, you might even have multiple wins built within that. If you have 4 different checkpoints or milestones you got to hit inside that 45-minute window.
Right.
Well, hey, I've done my scripture. I've done my affirmations. I've prayed. I've listened, right? Listen to God first and then maybe listen to some other content after that, right? You've stacked up all those different wins, which already makes it to where I've won the day, right?
It's a good day, yeah.
Like, everything else can go crap, can go sideways. You're good. That's part of, for me, like, I've been doing unsuccessfully or not very well CrossFit for 4.5 years, right? But going up and doing the 6:30 class, the days that I get up and I do that, I have my rhythm of out of bed by 5:15. I make my protein shake. I pack my lunch or my second breakfast, my first lunch, pack all the food, get ready to go to class at 6:30, done by 7:30, at the office by 8. Well, that's like a 2.5, 3 hour stretch right there of things I've already done to make me successful. And then if I have the worst day, if the market drops by 40%, which doesn't happen in a single day, but like if it did, it's going to suck.
Yeah.
But I already know who I am.
Right.
I know I've reestablished what my identity is, what my being is, what my focus is, like all those things to where it really doesn't matter what else comes. That's the thing I've told a lot of new advisors in our business is, hey, if you don't have something else in your life, in your day, every single day
Yeah.
that is harder than what you're doing at work or sets you up to address that difficulty at work every single day, you're not going to be successful. And I think that applies to everybody. Because
Yeah.
if you don't have something to do to prove to yourself where you are, who you are, what you're about, get that done, whether it's daily, definitely daily is helpful, but like a weekly thing, a monthly thing, realigning to your priorities and your goals, you're just going to be floundering.
Right. It's like I tell my wife, I tell myself, I tell my kids, like, we were made to do hard things.
Hmm.
And so we're going to do hard things, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't want to do hard things.
Mm-hmm.
But if you don't do them, you'll never do hard things.
Yeah.
Everything will always be hard if you don't do hard things.
Right. So how has this shift? Because like
Yeah.
I've kind of seen you over
Yeah.
the past couple of years, right? Just completely transform.
Appreciate
And
that.
I mean
man.
that like in the best way possible. Like
Appreciate that.
not saying anything about old Brad, right?
Right,
But
right.
like
He was
but
a good guy
just
too.
yeah, he's just a great guy,
He's a
fun
great
loving guy, right?
Great.
But even like I saw you post a progress photo from
Mhm.
rucking and from working out and just being disciplined on your body the other day. And I saw that and I was like, daggum, like Brad is like really new man. So like how has creating these like micro goals, these completion points, you know, the rhythms and routines you have, how has that affected every other area of your life over the past couple of years?
Yeah, I mean, everything's different. Like, everything's different. When I learned the frameworks of, I can pay attention to these 4 areas of my life every day and start to see the needles moving in these 4 areas. Yeah, it was game over. It's like, okay, this is finally found a framework that works, and all I have to do is work it, and then it continues to work.
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to a buddy yesterday, and I was saying, man, somebody's going to go through LDX,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I was like, hey, man, like, I've been really good at business. I've been a really good dad. I've been really good at self-talk. I've been really good at, like, my body. I've never been really good at them all at one time.
Mm.
Something else typically suffers when I'm really good in this area.
Mm-hmm.
And for the first time in my life, I can say that body's doing good. My relationship with myself and with my creator is doing good.
Mm-hmm.
My relationship with my family, my kids, my friends, those are good. And my business is doing good. Like, we're building, we're thriving. And so if you're not experiencing that, right, it's because you're not focusing on all those areas every day.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way to fix it is to focus, right? So.
Yeah. No, you really can't just like simplify it anymore, right?
Yeah.
And people have different like wheels,
For
right?
sure.
It's like you have body, being, balance, business, right?
Mhm.
I've heard faith, family, fitness, finance.
Mhm.
In the business world, there's people, process, profit, performance, right? You know, there's all these different versions
Yeah.
of that. But I think where a lot of people get stuck, and I even have one for financial planning, right? Like
Right.
cash flow, assets, investments, risk, tax, legacy. Like we have all these kind of frameworks we use.
Mhm.
But I think a lot of people get stuck, and correct me if I'm wrong, but people get stuck on the action side
100%.
because it's, well, where do I start?
Yeah.
Where do I go from here?
Yeah.
I don't even know where I stand.
Mhm.
And I've especially found that on the financial planning side and like business coaching side is that you just have to commit to not knowing.
Yeah.
You just commit to like being where you are.
Yeah.
And then just take that first step.
Being comfortable, being uncomfortable.
Exactly.
Yeah.
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 If I ever would have been told that I'd be where I am, like physically and like capacity wise in the gym where I am today,
Right.
4.5 years ago, I'd be like, nah, I'll never make it there.
Right. Because you can't see that. You can't see that far.
Yeah. You don't know what you don't know.
Right.
Right. And that's every part of life. Like you don't
100%.
know what you don't know. But if you just commit to the process of, okay, I'm going to humble myself and take one step in the right direction. I'm going to do one right thing.
Right.
Even to the point you were talking earlier about, you know, if you're going to the gym and being consistent there, you know, making progress will happen over time with consistency. Well, maybe.
Yeah.
If you're also focusing on your nutrition.
Yes.
Right. It's like there's that key side of doing good things over here, but also not ruining things over here.
Right.
The same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right. But just, I guess the point I'm trying to get at, which I'm probably not doing very well
I
at,
think you're great.
is just being willing to commit to the suck. Is
Yeah.
that the reality of it? Like the reality of life is like, just we're here to do hard things. We're going to do hard things together. We're going to make it happen. We're going to find community we can do it with.
Yeah.
And we're going to succeed as a result.
100%. It's boring. Let me just go ahead and put it out there, right? Like doing the same thing over and over, like getting really dialed in on your schedule, like nerding out and figuring out how, like, what are the things that I can do inside this period? Like all that, when you do it, as you're doing it, understanding that tomorrow and the next day you're going to do it, like that's boring. That's like, fork in my eyeball type boring stuff, right? And I think that's what stops a lot of people from doing it consistently, because it loses flavor, it loses taste. But if you do it anyway, that's when you start seeing the result.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, maybe I don't like getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning, but I know that if I do, the results of that, like I get to sit on a podcast with Patrick and talk about how to, build a better lifestyle. Like those things don't happen if I'm not willing to put in that boring 5 o'clock work, right? And it's not nothing of this is like, it's not a glamorous. It's literally in the trenches doing work. The shiny comes afterwards. The shiny comes when like you take off your shirt and it's 3 years later and you're like, man, I think I see an ab. Like, what's that? I'm 40 years old. How do I see that?
There's one ab.
Yeah, it starts with one,
And then we'll go to two.
and then we go to 2 and 3, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's just kind of that thing. Like you're never going to see it. No one's getting abs overnight.
Yeah.
Never happening.
Yeah.
If you're not eating right, if you're not like, I know this is not a fitness podcast, and
we talk about fitness a lot because the concept is relevant.
It's
right.
100%.
It's discipline and consistency.
But you're not going to get anywhere that you want to be overnight. You just can't. It's just not going to happen. And that's one reason, like, why I created this challenge and why it's 100 miles, why it's over 90 days, because I didn't want something that I could do in a day, in a weekend, in a month, and then be able to like, yep, check that off. Well, what do I do now? Right? A big part of like my past is I'll set a goal, I'll hit it, but then I didn't have anything set after that goal. And so then I just revert back to what I was just doing. Like, great, I checked it off. Cool. Well, what's the next goal before that goal ends? And so that's kind of why I built some of these rules to make sure that, hey, like if I don't ruck within a 7-day period, I'm going to get kicked out of my own challenge.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm the guy that developed it. So I've got to show up, And if I hit 100 miles, that's great. But there's still, we had somebody hit 100 miles yesterday.
Yeah.
Day 16.
Right.
There's still a lot of time on the clock, right?
Yeah.
And so
I think Scott's going to go for 500 this quarter. I'm just going to be honest.
Scott's trying to figure out what he's wanting to do, man. Like, he's got these young guys coming up behind him, and he doesn't know what to do. He's like, no way.
That's the Marine in him. He's going to make it happen.
It really is. But yeah, so if we hit the goal and we have nothing coming after it, you've probably done the same thing. I hit it, cool. And then you revert right back to where you were.
100. We all do. Right?
Yeah.
If anyone says they haven't done that, then they either haven't actually set goals and like shot for them, which is equally as bad, or they're just not being truthful about it, right? But yeah, I see it all the time, and even in businesses, where we are in terms of size of our business, with how many people we've helped, and how much money we manage, things like that. Like, would have never imagined that. And in 18 months, we'll be $100 million company, guaranteed.
That's amazing.
Just like my business.
Wow.
Which is mind-blowing. Like, there's no reason we should be a $100 million company, except we just keep doing the work.
Yeah.
We just keep trying to do the right things, trying to serve people well, trying to show up, trying to be communicative, try to be like just those things that can be very boring at times.
Absolutely.
How do I make sure like tax laws change?
Yeah.
Are we communicating well? Those kind of things.
Just doing the right thing.
But the thing is that I've realized for myself over the past couple of years is I kind of set this arbitrary goal 2.5 years ago, which was for our team in Greenville to manage $1 billion for clients.
Okay.
And it was within 10 years. And we're 2.5 years in, and our team has grown, and we're probably, between all of us in Greenville, we're at, I don't know, 200 million.
Okay.
Close to 200 million total. And now I'm looking at it, we got like 7.5 years left on this goal.
Yeah.
Where $1 billion's just irrelevant.
Right.
That's just going to happen with compound growth.
Right.
Like that's not even a thing of, obviously we have to work at it, but it's not something we have to grind like we did for the first 3 years.
Right.
Now it's just like by continuing to help people and be available and do the right things and try to, set good boundaries and, all those kind of things, like that will happen.
Yeah.
So now the thought process is, well, instead of caring about that metric, which is a great goal to start with,
Right.
like, okay, you have something to shoot for, but now it's like, it's not on the horizon, but it's basically on the horizon,
Right.
How do we actually shift from the focus of that to the impact we're having?
I like that.
And that's been the big thing for us this past quarter. We set a target of, or we kind of set our vision, which is instead of focusing on an asset number we manage for people, it's how many families do we impact?
I love that.
So now it's shooting more so for 10,000 families.
Heck yeah.
Great. So I help 360 something families right now on an active basis. Our team as a unit probably helps, 800 families.
Mm-hmm.
How do we get to 10,000?
Yeah. Because with that, the numbers just come.
Yeah. And like we're not worried about income. We're not worried about anything else. It's just like how can we impact more people
100%.
and have better influence in the community? But then it was funny. I was talking with a buddy, Ren Flickinger, right? Yeah. So I was talking with Ren, and he said, "Well, hey, like 10,000 is kind of weak, isn't it?"
Ooh.
I said, "Oh, okay.
Okay. Yeah.
You're right, because 10,000 was just going to happen,
Right.
right? Like if we keep hiring the right people,
Mm-hmm.
keep building the right systems, having the right technology, all that kind of stuff, 10,000 is going to be there."
That's a great listen. I have to jump in on that.
Go
right?
for it,
because what I've noticed, like this exact thing that you just said, when you start bringing other people into your goals, into your things, and they challenge you on those, or they do something similar, right? Like bringing things like, let me go right back into the Ruck 90 situation, right? It's an individual goal, but we have a container of 50 people right now, and everybody would say they're racing somebody else, right? It's an individual goal, but because you're bumping elbows with other people, you're naturally raising that original goal, and you're pushing yourself further, faster, higher than you ever would if you were doing it by yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so Ren is bringing you the 10,000 is the goal, but Ren just challenging you a little bit. You're like, oh yeah, actually.
Yeah.
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 So maybe it's 100,000.
Maybe.
I don't know what that number is yet, but you have to set that big, hairy, audacious goal, right? Like everybody talks about BHAGs in business. I think a lot of things that apply to business or get applied to business can apply for just regular old people too.
For sure.
Like if you're just an employee, you work at a company for 30 years, same kind of thing, right? Business exit planning, that's something I'm getting into as well, like getting certified on that pretty soon. And learning more about those processes and those kind of things. But it's the same exact concept as just someone who wants to retire.
Yeah.
You just need to have a vision of where you're going. And if you're running from something instead of running to something, we got to fix that first.
That's true.
I don't work with people that are running from something anymore.
Yeah.
Because they have the wrong mindset.
Right.
I work with people that are running towards something.
That's exciting.
And that's a whole different way of life, a whole different perspective, a different challenge, different viewpoint.
Yeah.
So
that probably changes how you show up to them as well.
Oh, for sure.
When somebody's running from something and you're trying to convince them, right? Versus somebody running to, they're already convinced.
Yeah.
They're already convinced. And so now y'all get to run together. There's no opposition.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I think that it goes back to that mindset too of just, are we a victim?
Yeah.
Or are we in control? You know, if you're focused on the core four, right? Body, being, balance, and business every single day, you're taking hold of that thing.
100%.
You're grabbing it by the horns, right? Buffalo has some horns, right?
I do.
Grabbing the buffalo horns, maybe?
Buffalo by the horns.
kind of thing. I think that's, there's so many areas of life that, myself included, I'm not gonna pretend like I have it all figured out, because I don't
have it all figured
right?
out. Yeah.
Because there's no true balance.
True.
Every wheel we have for some kind of framework, like there's no perfect balancing act. The wheel will always roll in some capacity. Maybe it's a little bit lopsided here and there, that kind of thing. Ideally, it's just a little bit lopsided and not just like heavily focused on your body and your relationships suck and your business sucks and that kind of stuff. But I think the key thing that I've found over time is everybody has those challenges. They have competing priorities, we'll say.
Yeah.
But just being willing to step in and say, I'm gonna work on all of these things and just make that incremental progress is the key.
Right.
And to your point, with Ruck 90, I know that I actually got disqualified a couple quarters ago.
You did.
I'll be honest. I'll be honest.
Actually, you're part of the reason for the rule.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, look at that impact right there.
100%.
Makes an impact.
Yeah.
And the reasons don't matter, right?
Right.
But I can say that, our house got hit by 4 trees in the hurricane, and we were living in an Airbnb, and we had a toddler, and we found out we were pregnant.
Yeah.
And our home renovation project was going terribly.
Yeah.
And we had employee issues. Like, there's always reasons.
All valid.
All reasons.
All valid.
But should that have been a reason to not stick with the challenge?
Yeah. I mean, it's just walking, man.
It's just walking. It's
just
carving out 15 minutes a day to walk a mile, right?
So I'll give you, let me
Go
give you
for it.
some insight into how that rule came about.
Yeah.
Right. So what ended up happening that first quarter, there was no rule at all. Like for how many you had to like per day or whatever. It was just open ended. And if you got it, you got it. If you didn't, you didn't. And what I noticed is that people just started falling off pretty quick. Like you weren't the only one. And then what I noticed towards the end of the challenge is those people gave me permission to not show up. Because those people were just, they're on the board. They're just stagnant. They're not showing up. And that eventually starts wearing on me. And I'm like, I can skip today. Like, it's okay. And then I skipped 2. And then I skipped 3. And then I started seeing myself not show up. So I was like, nope, we're going to have a rule. It's loose. It's a loose rule. 7 days is not.
Yeah.
It's not hard to do something one time in 7 days.
Right.
I'm not telling you how far you have to go. I'm not telling, like, but the reality is if you're not at least doing it once in 7 days, you're not going to hit the 100 anyway. Right. And so, that's how that rule even came about is noticing, like, I don't need people giving me permission to fail. I give myself permission all the time to do that. But I want people holding me to a higher standard. And if there's people not committed, let's go ahead and move them to the side and let's focus on the people that are going to be active.
Yeah, that's a great principle right there, even in business, right? Again, just the financial side of things. Like we see people all the time that are not fully committed to their goals or what they say they want. You see it in health, you see it in families, in churches, all that kind of stuff. But having the discipline, because I think it goes back to discipline as a leader too. And I struggle with this, caring about people, wanting to help them, pour into them, see them succeed, all that kind of stuff. Right. If we want to help 10,000 families, that's a lot of time, a lot of emotional capacity, right? I can't do it alone. It's not on me to start with, right? Yeah. But getting other people in place, realizing that we don't have to do it for everybody, we can't do it for everybody, but also having that discipline as a leader to say that we're going to give sufficient support.
Yeah.
That means that not everybody's necessarily getting the same.
Right.
And that's not a bad thing, right? But if you're not making progress, well, we can't force you to make progress. We're here to coach you. We're here to guide you. We're here to give you informational content. We're here to answer questions when things come up. But we can't be that person who is reviewing everything for you daily,
right? And
walking alongside you and just coaching you up of, like if it's a health situation, well, hey, like don't go to McDonald's today.
You already
like you, you know these things, right? It's just those personal decisions people have to make and commit to, right? But I love that. I love the fact that there's a rule. I love that there's more structure to that, right? But it's still a rough framework, right? It's not. Yeah. You got to hit 7 miles every week or that kind of thing. You have
to do it every day.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and to be fair, like that gave me encouragement to jump back in this quarter.
Oh, go.
Which was, I think it was 6 days in. Like basically a week into the quarter, I actually joined the challenge.
Okay.
And I knew, well, I got to do more than a mile a day.
Yeah.
Or every couple of days, I got to do 3 to 4 miles.
Exactly.
So that's what I've been doing.
Exactly.
Is actually jumping in and trying to actually hit those numbers to catch up and then build that momentum to keep going forward and not get stuck.
It's the hardest, easiest challenge I've ever done. Because it's something, if you do it every day and you'll force yourself to do it every day and you'll trick yourself to do it every day, you'll crush it. You will go so far past 100. Like I thought 100 was hard when I originally. Like, this was a Q4 body goal for me. Like I created this Q4 of last year as a body goal, and this was something that I didn't plan on bringing anybody else in, but somebody else showed up with the same body goal as me, and I'm a one-upper. This guy's a one-upper. And so I was like, let's create a
Who was
challenge.
it? I'm curious.
It's Scott.
Was it Scott?
Yeah, it was Scott. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I
And
didn't know if it was Scott or Nick. So
no, it was Scott. And so like going, like if I could kind of rewind back to
yeah.
your 10,000 versus the money, right? Your 10,000 family impact, the way that you frame your goals can greatly impact where you end up landing up, right? I started as a body fat goal for Q4 2024 when I or 2023 whenever I started this. It started as I wanted to do a body fat goal. I wanted to have under 10% or under 12%, whatever that is. And I was challenged by Chris to say like, yeah, okay, like that's great. That's where you want to be. What other goal can you set that will automatically hit that, but also create bigger impact?
yeah.
Right. And so, yeah, you're going to hit your revenue goal merely just trying to support 10,000 people, 10,000 families. And framing it to support 10,000 families puts your mind in a different framework that like, it's not about just the money. The money's the ultimate goal for the business because the business doesn't thrive without the money.
Right.
But you've framed it in impact. And now all these things are going to happen and a lot more is going to happen than if you were just chasing the dollar, right? If I was just chasing the body fat, if I was just chasing the mile, if I was just chasing the one thing, well then, yeah, I hit the one thing. But if I reframed it, if I got more creative when setting the goal, how can I hit the thing that I really want to hit? That's the main goal. But how can I do it in a way that I impact other people in a much bigger way?
Right.
So
Yeah.
I really appreciated like that's how you were framing that goal out. That was really cool.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Well, I think it gets down to the root of like what you're actually shooting for, right? If it truly is just about body fat for you, like that one goal.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you hit it, then what happens?
Yeah.
You go back.
Go start eating
Or
cookies.
or you never hit it because there's other things that you can't influence or you don't know about.
Right.
Like I found out recently I have a really bad dairy and egg intolerance.
Okay.
Thanks, Gordon. Just so you know, Gordon, wherever you
Sorry.
are, you're probably not listening to this. You've been telling me to stop eating dairy for years. But like we actually did some testing and figured out that like that was a major problem with my body changes.
Okay.
Right. So like I've had to cut out dairy and eggs. And if I have a little bit of that, like I feel it.
Okay.
Like
yeah.
I know, like bloat, like everything, right? It's
Get a little
terrible.
sluggish,
It feels disgusting, right? But I now that I know that, I can work around it.
Right.
If you had something like that going on where you would never know and you're just shooting for that goal and you never hit it,
Right.
even if you're doing everything else right and you have something in your genetics or whatever
Right.
where you can't hit it, stress, etc. Well, you're just always going to be like mentally out of it.
Right.
Right. But setting that target where you can just hit consistency every single day, I'm going to do this, going to do this, going to do this, going to do this. Like that's the thing.
Right.
And that allows you to have that bigger impact, still achieve your goal ultimately.
For
right?
sure.
But build the behaviors and the habits to never fall away.
Yeah. And I think that kind of aligns with like knowing, like really knowing who you are, like being an active person in your life, right? Not just going day by day and going through the motions, but like seeing things that impact you and say, hey, maybe I can change that. Maybe I don't feel good when I eat, a whole loaf of bread. Maybe I shouldn't do that next time.
Yeah.
Maybe I should have half the loaf.
Yeah.
But like taking little notes of like, okay, this thing impacted me this way. How can I work around that pitfall next time to get the best result? I had posted something this week about rules versus exceptions. Like what in our lives have we created and said, okay, well, that's a rule. I can't do that again because it had this negative impact versus, hey, no, that was an exception to the rule and it did have a negative impact, but what was that negative impact? Why did it exist? And how do I work around that instead of just avoiding it altogether? There's so many times that we hit these certain areas in our life and we're like, nah, I got burnt, not doing that again. But like, what's that robbing you of in the future by just not avoiding that little sliver, right? Don't knock the entire category out because that one little thing that kind of got in the way. I don't know.
I love the way you framed that, just like at the beginning. We'll call that your hook, right? Is being an active participant in your life.
Yeah.
Because so many times we look at people, we look at ourselves, and it's just like, oh, I'm just passively doing this.
Yeah.
Just passively floating through with anything,
Right.
right? I kind of get on to people sometimes around the money side is like, if they just say, well, hey, I just need to know like this money's gonna be drafted this day of the month, and then I can make it work.
Yeah.
Well, you think that's being active. You're actually just being passive around everything else. Like you're not putting any discipline or focus or control onto the other things. And I guarantee, because I've seen it many, many times, you get into retirement, you're actually living off that money. It's just going to be constantly, oh, I need more. Oh, I need more. Oh, I need more. It just blows your entire plan up. Those kind of things. So being that active participant in your life, I think is, man, that's such powerful words.
Yeah.
So powerful. So as we wrap up, just thinking about the conversation today, I know we've talked about a few different things, not as much on Knotted Threads,
Right. It's fine.
but that
Yeah.
I want people to know who you are on
Yeah.
that, because we love the gear and the apparel you're able to do, the creative aspect you're able to help us out with there. How do people find you for Knotted Threads if they need branding,
Yeah.
brand recognition for their company? And then how can people find Buffalo Mentality, Ruck 90, those kind of things?
Yeah, man. So Knotted Threads is pretty easy. We're on Instagram, Facebook, social media. It's Knotted Threads Official.
Mhm.
And then if you went to Knotted Threads, KNOTTED, threads.com, you'll find us there. We try to make it really, really easy. So we have a form you can fill out that you just dump your ideas into that form. We'll look at them, we'll digest them, we'll get with you, and we'll start coming together with like some really cool ideas. We're like a big proponent of ideas elevating ideas. So if you just come to us and say, hey, make me some shirts, well, I'll make you some shirts. Like, that's fine. But like what we really want is to create a connection with our clients, to understand what their brand, their messaging, like how they want to be perceived in the world, and how can we do that for them through custom apparel. We're not someone that's just going to take logos and throw them on shirts. We're not someone that's just going to take graphics and throw them on shirts. We're masters at what we do. We use newer technology than traditional screen printing, and with that, we use those systems in the best way that we can, and utilize the artwork in a professional manner to where it looks designer, it feels designer, and it's not just somebody who has taken a file and thrown it on a T-shirt. Anybody can take a file and throw it on a T-shirt. We really want to elevate like your ideas, your brand, and your messaging out to the world.
Yeah.
And then for Buffalo Mentality, we're on Instagram and Facebook, and then Ruck 90, which is the challenge and underneath the Buffalo Mentality brand. You can find us at ruck90.com. We've still got plenty of time left for the quarter. And man, we had somebody jump in last quarter with 3 weeks to go and still crushed it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Way to
90
go.
days seems long.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can do it. You can do it in a couple of weeks if you're really wanting to get that T-shirt.
I think back to one quote from LDX a few years ago, which was, I think Nick Long said this, either Nick or Chris said this, where you overestimate what you can do in a year, like 12 months, right?
Yeah.
And you underestimate what you can do in 10 years.
Right.
So 90 days is long.
Yeah.
It's also going to go by very fast.
Very fast.
Right. But it's a lot of opportunity, a lot of time to make a lot of progress, a lot of impact for yourself,
Yeah.
to then go out and impact and progress in the world.
Absolutely.
So awesome. Well, Brad, thanks for joining us, man.
Appreciate
Really
it.
glad to have you. Appreciate you sharing some about your background, family, where you are today. If anybody's not following Brad, definitely check him out on all the Instagram handles and Facebook and websites he shared. And if you need any branded apparel, I would not recommend anybody else more.
I'm your guy.
These shirts look fantastic. Like, and everything we've gotten so far, it's lasted. It has, not degraded. Like shirts I've worn across for 2 years, like still lasting.
That's what we want
To
to
the point where I need to just like throw them away and replace them, that kind of thing. So, yeah, but I really appreciate you coming out, man. Looking forward to continuing to watch you grow and see where we end up.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
All right. Have a good one, guys. Thanks. Discussions in this show are for entertainment and educational purposes only and should not be construed as specific recommendations or investment advice. Always consult with your investment professional before making important investment decisions. Securities offered through registered representatives of Cambridge Investment Research, Inc., a broker-dealer and member of FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services through Cambridge Investment Research Advisors, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Cambridge and neither SmartPro Financial nor Bridgeway Wealth are affiliated.